Okay, so let's cover exam 1, and this was covering sections 2.1, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, and 2.7. Directions are given for each question. Follow the instructions. Always read the directions. Professors are sneaky, and they'll throw stuff in there that you just want to make sure that you know. Name the coordinates of the points graphed, and these are each worth 1 point. So A is along the x-axis. Remember, your ordered pair is x, y. So along the x-axis, you're going to go over 1 and 1, 2, 3 down for the y. B is over 1 to the right and 1, 2, 3 up. C is 1, 2, 3, -4 and -5. And then D is just at -4, 0. Find the x and y intercepts algebraically without graphing. Insert in ordered pairs. So this is important to make sure that you answer properly. To find the x-intercept, you let y equals 0 and solve for x. So 2x minus 2/3 is equal to, this is going away, 3/4 times 0 is 0, is equal to 3. I can get rid of the fraction for 3 by multiplying every term by 3. I like to get rid of fractions for students. 3 times 2 is 6x. 3's are gone, minus 2 equal to 9. Solving for x, I can just add 2 to both sides. 6x is equal to 11. Divide both sides by 6, and x is equal to 11, 6. Now, I did say to put in ordered pairs, so 11, 6, 0 is the x-intercept. For the y-intercept, you let x equal 0 and solve for y. So the 2x is gone. You've got -2/3 is equal to 3/4 y plus 3. I'm going to get rid of the fractions by multiplying every term by 12. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. -2 times 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3 times 3y plus 36. Now I'm just going to solve for y. -8 equals 9y plus 36. Solving for y, subtracting 36 from both sides. We get 9y is equal to 36, 44, negative, and divide both sides by 9. So 0, -44, 9. There is the y-intercept. Find the distance between 2 points. Simplify your answers and write the exact answer. This formula is the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared, plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. All right. And then I label just so that I don't mess up. X sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So 10 minus -4, so that makes it a +4 squared, plus y sub 2 is 3 minus y sub 1 is 3 squared. 10 plus 4 is 14 squared. 3 minus 3 is 0, 0 squared, 0. So the square root of a square is, the distance is 14. All right, find the coordinates of the midpoint. Midpoint formula is x sub 1 plus, why did I keep doing that, y'all? X sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2, comma, y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. It's just finding the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So the midpoint is 1, y1, x2, y2, -43 plus 23 over 2, comma, 17 minus 34 over 2. So that is -20 over 2 and -17 over 2. Final answer is -10, -17 over 2. For the following complex number, -2 minus 3i, do the following. Find the complex conjugate. Remember, in the complex conjugate, the real number stays the same. The imaginary number is the only one that changes signs. graph the complex number and its conjugate on the complex plane. So to graph these, the original complex number is -2, -3i. We've got real and imaginary. So the real is -2, 1, 2, and imaginary is -3, 1, 2, 3. Place my point. And that is -2 minus 3i. The other one, it's -2, and then 1, 2, 3. And that's -2 plus 3i. Okay. Simplify the answer in complex number in this format. So I'm just going to rewrite this. -4 plus 4i. I'm going to go ahead and distribute my negative to both. Negative times a negative is +6. Negative times a positive is -9i. Combine like terms. -4 plus 6 is 2. 4i minus 9i is -5i. A plus bi format, good to go. All right, simplify. So we cannot have an imaginary number in the denominator, so we just need to multiply by the complex conjugate of 4 plus 3i, which is 4 minus 3i. And then I just need to distribute or FOIL all of these. So foiling, -2 times 4 is -8. Outer is -2 times -3i, which is +6i. Inner is 3i times 4, which is 12i. And last is 3i times -3i, which is -9i squared. 4 times 4 is 16. Outer is -12i. Inner is +12i. And last is -9i squared. Now you have to remember that I squared is equal to -1. So where there's an I squared, I'm going to just plug in a -1. And I get -8. 6 plus 12 is 18. Plus 9. 16. These are gone, which was the goal. Plus 9 is 1 plus 18i over 25. So that's 1/25 plus 18/25 I in A plus BI format. Simplify 837. So 837 divided by 4. Calculator. Is 209. And then just take 209 times 4, 836. So that's I to the 1. So I to 837 is equal to I. Solve by using the square root property. Well, it's already set up with the square by itself on one side, which is great. I am going to rewrite it so you can see how this looks. So you have to take the square root of this side to get rid of the square. The other side where the constant is, you have to put plus or minus the square root. So it's 2x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus 3. Now I'm just going to break this up. 2x plus 1 is equal to 3, and 2x plus 1 is equal to -3. And solve for x for both, and then we're done. Subtracting 1 from both sides, we get 2x is equal to 2. Divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 1. And that worked out. And then subtracting 1 from both sides, 2x is equal to -4. Divide both sides by 2. X is equal to -2. -2 is -8. -2 times -2 times 2 is -4. -4, yep, that works great. All right, solve by completing the square, show each step. First thing we have to do is move this 27 to the other side. So x squared minus 6x, leave my plus blank, is equal to 27 plus blank. I need to figure out what these blanks are, so I have to take b divided by 2 and square it. So -6 divided by 2 and squared. -6 divided by 2 is -3. -3 squared is 9. Now I'm going to complete my square. Square root of the first, sine of the middle, square root of the last. 27, 8, 9, 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, now we're going to take the square root of both sides. Plus or minus on this side. And then I'm going to separate these. X minus 3 is equal to 6. X minus 3 is equal to -6. So x is equal to 9, and x is equal to -3. solve by quadratic formula. So remember the coefficients, A is 2, B is 3, and C is -7. So then you can just plug and chug. X is equal to negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC. All of that is over to A. So X is equal to, just going to plug them in, -3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times A times C. All this is over 2 times 2. So X is equal to -3 plus or minus the square root 9 plus 28 times 2. I think that's 56. It's 56 over 4. 56 plus 9 is 65. And that is the answer. Answers. Please make note as you're going through this. If there's anything you have questions on, please ask. All right, solve algebraically. So first thing I do when I see this is what do they have in common? They have a 3 in common and they have an m in common. So I'm factoring out a 3m and I get m squared. 3, taking out a 3 from here, I get -12. Taking out an m, I'm left with an m. Taking out 3, I'm left with 27 and no m. All right, so I need to keep factoring. M, 9, 3, both negative. All right, once I get my 3 terms, I have to set each one of these equal to 0. So 3m equal to 0, m minus 9 equal to 0, and m minus 3 equal to 0. Divide both sides by 3, I get m is equal to 0. There's one answer. Add 9 to both sides, I get 9 as an answer. And add 3 to both sides, I get 3 as an answer. Next one. I'm going to let u equal 3t, -3t. So let u equal -3t minus 1. So I get u squared minus 3u plus 2 is equal to 0. All right, so I get u minus 2 is equal to 0, u minus 1 is equal to 0. I can now come back in and solve this, substitute the -3t minus 1 minus 2 equals 0. -3t minus 1 is equal to 0. Solving for t, -3t minus 3 is equal to 0. I'm going to add 3 to both sides and divide both sides by -3. And I get t is equal to -1. And then I'm going to go -3t minus 2 is equal to 0. Add 2 to both sides. -3t is equal to 2. Divide both sides by -3. T is equal to -2/3. Remove that one. I messed up with the sign. The -144 should have been positive. My fault. So I removed it. All right, well, we're going to solve this one. First, I'm going to do is get the absolute value all by its little lonesome on one side. So I'm going to get rid of the -2 first by adding 2 to both sides. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Now the absolute value is by itself on one side. Now is whenever I can split it up into 3x plus 8 is equal to 6. And 3x plus 8 is equal to -6. Remember, you can have 2 answers in here. The absolute value of 4 is 4. The absolute value of -4 is 4. So there will be 2 answers. Subtracting 8 from both sides. Dividing both sides by 3. There's 1. Subtracting 8 from both sides. Dividing both sides by 3. There are my answers. All right, the next one we're going to solve. I'm going to rewrite this. To get rid of a square root, we have to square. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So x plus 44 is equal to, now do not just do x squared plus 2 squared. Please don't do that. It's x plus 2 times x plus 2. If you can't do it in the form, do this, do your box method, do your FOIL, do your distributive property, whatever it takes for you to do this, whatever your choice is. All right, now I'm just going to solve for x. I'm going to bring this x and the 44 over, setting it equal to 0, plus 3x minus 40. All right, I have to remember what I did here. Give me just a minute. I want to say I broke it into 2 parentheses. But what did I use? 9, 8, and 5. Once you get it in that format, you just need to set them equal to 0 and solve. Don't forget, you do have to go back and check to see if this will work out. I plug in -8 plus 44. Well, that's going to give me a positive, so that works. What about -8 plus 2? That gives me a -6. You can't have a square root each equaling a negative, so that doesn't work. 5 would work. 5 does work. All right. To deal with the square root, I need to get this 2 out of the way first. We need to isolate it on one side. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And now I can square both sides. Add 9 to both sides. Solve and answer in interval notation. Because this is a greater than, we're going to break this up into 2x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 2, just as it's written, and 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to -2. All right, just solving for x. X is greater than or equal to 3/2. Leave it in fractional form. Plus 1. Divided by 2. All right, I'm just thinking about my number line here. I've got -1/2, 0, and 3/2. -1/2 is filled in, and it's x is less than, and 3/2 filled in, and it's greater than. So negative infinity to -1/2, and needs a bracket because it's included. There we go. Please provide it from smallest to largest, just like the number line is. Do not put the 3/2 over here and the -1/2 on the right. It's just not mathematically correct. Solve and write your answers in inequality with reduced fractions or interval notations. So we're going to solve for x. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides and -13. X I'm going to bring to the other side. 8, 9, 10, 11, so 31. And minus 6 is 4. Divide both sides by negative. When I do that, the inequality flips. From my number line, it's included, and x is greater than. I could have just left it like this because it says as a reduced fraction as an inequality or interval notation. If you answered with inequality, this is correct. If you wanted to do interval notation, there you go. Either one would have been acceptable answers. Solve, answer in interval notation. So this one I have to answer in interval notation. I'm just going to rewrite this. And I'm going to solve for x, subtracting 1 from all sides. And then dividing everything by -4. Because I divide by negative, my inequalities flip. And I'm going to see what my number line looks like. -3 is not included, and x is greater than. 1 is included. So it's from -3 not included to 1 included. Last page, solve, answer, and interval notation. So I'm going to go ahead and break these up into 2x minus 6 is less than 2. And 2x minus 6 is greater than -2. You could have written it like this, or you could have broken it into 2. I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. I'm going to add 6 to all. Divide everything by 2. Number line. Neither included, and it's in between. And last one. So order of operations is PEMDAS. The thing that people forget is this. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, whoever comes first from left to right. Addition and subtraction, whoever comes first from left to right. So parentheses first. Now we have division and multiplication. Some of you thought that multiplication came first. It does not. It's whoever comes first from left to right. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. If instead you thought multiplication came first, you would have got 8 divided by 8 and your answer would have been 1. That is wrong. Please make sure that you understand that the MD is not truly MD. It's MD, but it's whoever comes first in the problem from left to right. Same with addition and subtraction. All right, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help.